that happen. I said, well, when I'm next back in Tennessee, then I would be honored to present the award. And because this place means a lot to me, what these men and women do means a lot to me, what ESGR does means a lot to me. You almost got it right. I was in the DC Guard, the Minnesota Guard, the New York Guard, the New Jersey Guard, and the Massachusetts Guard. I did a lot of interstate transfers because of moves and different responsibilities and working and living in different places. But as it happens, Captain, I was in your seat as a lieutenant, and when I nominated after deployments to Guantanamo Bay and a deployment to Iraq, I nominated my employer, Bear Stearns, who's an investment firm in New York City, may it rest in peace, it no longer exists anymore. I nominated Bear Stearns for the Freedom Award for ESGR because what they did for me as a lieutenant, as a second lieutenant and a first lieutenant, you leave a career and a job and your life, and in a perfect world, you come back to it and everything's, you're lauded and appreciated and supported for that. And I kind of assumed that's how it would be, right? In a patriotic country, you've got, employers would love to have those who serve in their ranks and serving the country. But as I was deployed to Guantanamo Bay that first year, I just encountered guy after guy in my platoon who were like, well, I'm getting screwed back home, and I don't think I'm going back to a job, and they're taking this away, and they haven't helped my wife, and they're more worried about what they're coming back to than the job that we're asking them to do. Whereas I knew my employer was bending over backwards to say, how can I help you? What more can we do for you? Can we talk to your parents? That's a relief. It just allows you to say, okay, now I'm doing. And after our first deployment to Guantanamo Bay, I came back to my company and did spreadsheets. And I'm not made to be on Wall Street, that's for sure. I should not be the Treasury Secretary or the Commerce Secretary. I said I volunteered actually to deploy to Iraq. And that was just a few months after coming back from Guantanamo Bay, and my employer said, good, we got you back. Thank you for serving the country. Again, I couldn't do that without their support. And so the fact that ESGR helps companies understand how critical this is and helps service members fight for them and advocate for them to make sure their employers do reflect it, to me it's a no-brainer. To me it's about as noble a duty as you can ask. So those that volunteer, thank you for doing it. Those that lead, thank you for leading it. It is important to us. It is a priority to us. It's not just about recruiting numbers of how many men and women we can get to join. It's, do they stay? Do they want to stay? Can we retain them as well? And I know, this department, from what I understand, has folks at airborne school right now. I think there's one officer, I believe, is in DC as a part of that mission. I know folks from the Tennessee Guard have been at the Southwest border as well, all across the country and all across the world. And when you consider some of the missions that we have proudly undertaken, whether it's securing the southern border, 0 crossings in the last 3 or 4 months from the disaster it was the last 4 years, or the deployment in Los Angeles, or what's currently happening in Washington, D.C., to have men and women that have the skill set of, say, the Hendersonville Police Department, walking the beat, not just interacting with the public and doing their job, but then teaching other soldiers how, their left and right limits, how to do it, what right looks like. Like, there's a huge value add to that across the entire force. In fact, it's something we're looking at the highest and most strategic levels, is how do we leverage guardsmen and reservists who have those civilian skills even more effectively, even more efficiently across the force in different missions. So it's no accident, God's got a plan for everything, but it's no accident we're here in Tennessee. It's no accident that I was there working at Bear Stearns and seeing what right should look like. It's no accident that invite came and that ESGR is here and that we're in a state that supports, thank you sir, how much support you give inside Tennessee. We know we can always count on the Tennessee Guard. It's not always the case. I won't name any states, but we appreciate you. It means a lot. And Senator and Councilor, I want to thank you both. I mean, Senator Blackburn, I don't know if you saw, but I went through a little bit of a confirmation process. And she was wonderful. The entire process, Senator Blackburn, Senator Haggerty, having our back, just to say, hey, whatever you need. So thank you. And that's all when you're in a tough spot, that's all you're looking for, someone who has your back. And that's why what President Trump always tells me to relay to the troops. around the world and in the country is simply the commander-in-chief has your back. He's got your back. You do difficult things that other people are unwilling to do, don't have the courage to do, nor have the training to do, whatever it is. And that means 95% of the time you're gonna do a great job and things are gonna go well. But it's really what happens in those 5% of times where mistakes happen, or things go sideways, or it's a fog of war, or it's a contentious situation. All you need to know is that those above you, preferably at every echelon, but especially the highest echelon, well, actually, most meaningfully at the closest echelon, having been there. You want your company commander, your battalion commander, your brigade commander, your department to have your back. But if the top has your back, as President Trump does, or if the Secretary of Defense has your back, or the Attorney General in Pam Bondi has your back, that means you can go out, step out on a difficult mission, whatever it is, and do your job the right way. And execute knowing you have that support. That's all I ever wanted when I was a rifle platoon leader, was to know that my command had my back. I know when you're in the ranks of the Hendersonville Police Department, you want to know your folks, the folks have your back. And what ESGR does is have your back at a macro level to say, we're going to back you up back home with your family and with your job. So Chief, congratulations. Thank you for running the kind of department that cares about the men and women who serve. Thank you, Mayor, for running the kind of city, I mean, that backs that department. Again, there's a few cities where you don't quite have that. I wish they could learn from Tennessee and from Hendersonville, but, and thank you for making the nomination. And for all those officers who serve. Man, my kids got a kick out of all the police officers escorting us over here. It's pretty cool, pretty cool. And frankly, that's been a neat part of, and we've got 4, we're down 3. We didn't do standard math, we did Common Core math with our kids. So we've got 7.